Over the last few years, the internet has given birth to some of the most irrational, dangerous, and frankly, dystopian trends to ever grace a screen. We aren't just talking about harmless dances here. We're talking about a glitch in the collective human psyche. Today, we're dismantling the weirdest trends to ever take over TikTok. Every single one of these is going to shock you, and the deeper we go, the more you'll realize that the algorithm is doing more than just showing you videos. It's changing us. Let's get into it. The orange peel theory is a viral phenomenon that dominated TikTok between 2023 and 2024, functioning as a psychological metric to assess relationship health based on a partner's willingness to perform small, unsolicited acts of service. The core logic of the system is that if a partner refuses a simple request, like peeling an orange, it serves as a definitive red flag, indicating a fundamental lack of care. This resulted in a massive wave of viral relationship evaluations and, ultimately, real-world breakups. The reality is that people were taking a single, isolated act and deciding the entire strength and future of their relationship based on it, which is logically flawed. When this theory was at its peak, a creator named Ariel came forward, stating that her ex-boyfriend actually broke up with her specifically over a disagreement regarding the orange peel theory. While they were discussing the test, the boyfriend argued that it was a ridiculous way to assess the strength of a relation. They quarreled over this fundamental difference in perspective, and the conflict resulted in the immediate end of their relationship. In the video she posted to her TikTok account, she explained that she wasn't necessarily feeling bad, but she expressed a deeper desire, saying, "I would like to have someone who wants to peel an orange for me. I would not ask you to. I'd just like to know that you would. Is that too much to ask for?" It is truly shocking to realize that a seemingly trivial and irrational method of assessment could lead to the dissolution of long-term partnerships. She was not the only individual whose relationship was terminated because of this psychological test. Another woman shared her experience on Reddit, describing how devastated she was to find that her boyfriend did not pass the orange peel theory. She recounted that while she was scrolling through TikTok, she discovered the theory and decided to test it out immediately. Because she did not have an orange on hand, she asked her boyfriend to tie her hair up instead, as it matched the context of the service-based theory. Her Reddit post detailed the interaction. "I asked him to tie up my hair for me, and he looked at me and asked me why I could not do it. At first I thought he was intimidated by my long hair, so I asked him again thinking it was just a fluke, but he told me I could do it since I was in the kitchen, and he needed to relax, stating that he just got off work." Because the boyfriend failed this specific test, the girlfriend decided to end the relationship right then and there. When users in the comments began to troll her for her decision, she became defensive and posted a public reply. She stated, "I did not mean to make it seem like I was testing him like a crazy girlfriend who sets her boyfriend up for failure. I simply used the theory to see what he would do and came to the realization that I was giving 90% while he was giving only 30% into the relationship." This was not the conclusion of the trend. A vast number of other women continued to perform this test and broadcasted their results on TikTok.
I really want it, but I hate peeling it.
You hate peeling it?
Yeah.
Tough luck, buddy. Go ahead and do her.
You're not gonna peel it for me?
Can you please? I'm your maid. I do your laundry, I cook for you, I do your dishes that you leave all over the damn house. Just come peel my orange, please.
I'm not peeling a damn.
Are you sure?
Well, it's a trend going around the internet, but it could land you in jail.
In 2019, one of the most repulsive and high-risk trends to ever erupt on social media began in Lufkin, Texas. It started with a man and a woman walking through a grocery store, seemingly as normal customers, until they reached the freezer section. In a moment of calculated chaos, the woman grabbed a tub of Bluebell's ice cream, opened it, licked the top of the frozen dessert, and placed it back into the freezer as casually as if nothing had happened. The couple was bold enough, or perhaps desperate enough for engagement, to record the entire incident and broadcast it to social media. Within hours, the footage had amassed millions of views, but the consequences were immediate. Because the store could not identify which specific tub had been contaminated, they were forced to dispose of their entire inventory of Bluebell ice cream. This resulted in a massive financial loss for the retailer, prompting Bluebell to request a full police investigation to bring the perpetrators to justice. The woman was eventually identified through surveillance footage and dubbed by the media as the Lufkin Licker. Police later confirmed that the couple admitted the entire act had been pre-planned specifically for social media clout. While the woman's name was never publicly revealed due to her status as a minor, her boyfriend faced significant legal charges.
Authorities say the suspect will not be charged as an adult. They say it's now up to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department to determine what the charges will be.
The most disturbing part of the story isn't the original act. It's the digital contagion that followed. Inspired by the viral success of the video, a wave of copycats began attacking stores nationwide, recording themselves licking ice cream tubs and reposting the acts on TikTok. What started as a prank quickly evolved into a public health crisis. It reached a point where Walmart was forced to station security guards specifically to guard the ice cream freezers, with photos of the armed guards circulating online as a testament to how absurd the situation had become. Soon, the trend began to mutate. It was no longer limited to ice cream. People started tampering with various other consumer products, forcing law enforcement to realize that this wouldn't stop until severe examples were made. Police began a widespread crackdown, identifying and arresting numerous TikTokers. The irony, of course, is that the evidence was easy to find. The culprits had recorded their own crimes in high definition for the sake of views. One of the most notable cases was that of Deadrian Anderson. Despite claiming it was a joke, and even producing a receipt to prove he eventually purchased the ice cream he licked, the system did not show mercy. Anderson was sentenced to 30 days in prison and 2 years of probation. On top of that, he received a 6-month suspended sentence, 100 hours of unpaid work, a $1,000 fine, and he was ordered to pay over $1,500 in restitution to the ice cream company. It was a clear message from the legal system that your viral moments isn't worth a felony record.
Just because people do things on social media doesn't mean you should. And dentists around the country are horrified over a new TikTok trend, DIY tooth filing.
If you thought that licking ice cream was extreme, the next trend takes the idea of self-destruction to a biological level. It's known as the teeth filing challenge. This was a dangerous TikTok phenomenon where users began using common household items, most notably metal nail files or even sandpaper, to shave down their own teeth. The goal was to fix perceived imperfections, like natural ridges or uneven lengths, without the need for an expensive dentist. The trend is widely believed to have been originated by a TikToker named Mia. Like many others, she found herself stuck at home during the COVID-19 lockdowns and decided she wanted to fix her smile. The video of her casually filing away at her living tissue inspired a wave of copycats, leading to millions of views and a massive surge in dangerous DIY dentistry. One notable case that shocked the internet involved a 16-year-old girl named Ashlyn. Driven by the desire for the perfect aesthetic she saw on her screen, Ashlyn used a metal nail file to reshape her teeth. But at 16, she had no way of understanding the irreversible repercussions of what she was doing. The biological reality is terrifying. Our teeth are protected by enamel, which is officially the hardest substance in the human body. But unlike skin or bone, enamel does not grow back. It has no living cells to repair itself. Once you file it away for a 15-second video, it is gone forever. When these participants file too deeply, they expose the dentin. This is the sensitive layer situated directly under the enamel where the nerves and blood vessels live. Exposing this layer does not just cause extreme pain and bleeding, it invites permanent sensitivity and a significantly increased risk of cavities. In many cases, the damage is so severe it leads to tooth death, meaning these teenagers are now facing the need for expensive, lifelong corrective procedures like root canals or crowns. On top of the structural damage, using unsanitary household tools like used nail files introduces harmful bacteria directly into the bloodstream through the mouth. It's a perfect example of how the invisible system of beauty standards can trick us into destroying our own bodies for a temporary hit of digital validation. In early 2021, a trend emerged that seemed to empower millions, but it actually left them in an incredibly vulnerable position. It was known as the Silhouette Challenge. What started as a viral and body-positive movement quickly spiraled into a massive privacy disaster that exposed the participants in ways they never intended. The trend was sparked by a TikToker named Yoelise, who posted a video featuring a dramatic transition from a casual, everyday look to a red-filtered silhouette dancing in a doorway. It blew up so fast that her comments were flooded with people begging for a tutorial. Yoelise eventually complied, posting a step-by-step guide on how to achieve that specific red light effect. The momentum was unstoppable. because everyone wanted to emulate the iconic vibe Doja Cat had established. It became so culturally dominant that Doja Cat even appeared on television to discuss the trend and how to recreate the steps.
I'm gonna do it like that.
So turn on the light in your bathroom.
Okay.
Go in your door arch, okay? And just whatever you want to do.
Soon, TikTok was saturated with hundreds of millions of views under the silhouette hashtag. Because the challenge was designed to showcase the human form through a dark outline, participants often wore very little, and in many cases, nothing at all. There was a collective mistaken belief that the red filter acted as a digital cloak that could hide everything except a dark and anonymous figure. But the invisible system of digital editing proved them wrong. The red filter wasn't a mask. It was just a transparent digital layer of color. It didn't take long for predatory users to realize that with basic color grading and editing techniques, that red filter could be digitally stripped away. Once the filter was neutralized, the dark silhouette disappeared and revealed exactly what was underneath. Suddenly, the internet was flooded with tutorials. Not on how to make the videos, but on how to uncover them. Subreddits like r/silhouetteunfiltered began appearing overnight, dedicated to sharing these exposed videos without the creator's consent. By the time warnings started to circulate telling people to wear actual clothing or delete their posts, for many it was already too late. Their private moments had been archived by the system forever. This trend is perhaps the ultimate example of how the invisible system can take a genuine desire for self-improvement and warp it into a dangerous pseudo-scientific obsession. It is known as looks maxing trend.
Well, it is the latest TikTok beauty trend encouraging young people to strike themselves in the face with a blunt object that then causes fractures to their face, but all of this in a hope to achieving a perfect jawline or a more physically attractive face.
The movement began with a relatively simple goal: young men wanting to enhance their physical features. Men with recessed chins or flat cheekbones began claiming that specific looks maxing techniques had fundamentally altered their facial structures. This sparked a gold rush on TikTok, with creators producing endless tutorials and even selling specialized looks maxing guides. On Reddit, dedicated communities formed where users would post photos of themselves, essentially asking gurus to rate their bone structure and prescribe a routine to fix their perceived flaws. Influencers fueled the fire by posting dramatic before and after comparisons, claiming these methods had completely transformed their appearances. But, as we've seen before, the TikTok algorithm thrives on extremes, and users took the concept way too far. The obsession shifted from grooming and basic exercises to a desperate pursuit of razor-sharp jawlines and high-defined cheekbones. In their search for a shortcut, the community discovered a physiological concept known as Wolff's Law. In legitimate medicine, Wolff's Law states that bone will adapt to the loads under which it is placed. Essentially, that bones can slowly change shape over time if consistent and gradual pressure is applied. However, TikTokers stripped away the nuance and the medical context. They fundamentally misunderstood the law, believing that applying sudden and violent force with hammers or other hard objects would break and reset their faces into a more attractive structure. This gave birth to a horrifying new subtrend that amassed millions of views almost overnight. The situation became so dire that medical professionals were forced to intervene. Doctors explained that smashing your own facial bones is not just dangerous, it's catastrophic. Bones do not simply heal into a more handsome shape. They can shatter, heal in distorted ways, or even fail to fuse back together at all. Furthermore, the human face is a complex network of delicate muscles, sensitive nerves, and vital blood vessels. Applying blunt force trauma to these areas can cause permanent nerve damage, paralysis, or internal hemorrhaging. TikTok eventually moved to ban the most dangerous iterations of the trend, but the ideology didn't disappear. The looks maxing system simply migrated to other platforms, where influencers continue to pull in millions of views by promoting objectionable and physically destructive methods under the guise of self-improvement. Whether it's destroying your relationships over an orange, risking a felony for a tub of ice cream, or literally taking a hammer to your own face, the pattern is the same. We are being trained to value the digital moment over our own safety, our privacy, and our sanity. The algorithm doesn't care if a trend is dangerous, and it certainly doesn't care if it's true. It only cares that you watch. So, the next time you see a new challenge taking over your feed, ask yourself, is this a hack or is it a system failure? Stay sharp, stay questioning, and stay vigilant. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. The system is always watching, and so are we.